So I used Blooket on Friday for the first time with my students, and I was not expecting 14-year-olds to get as excited about something that looks as cartoony as this does, but they loved it. And I now have a new tool in my virtual teacher kit to spice things up a little bit because things have been getting a little stale lately. So before I start gushing about how much I like it and all the different games, let's start off with what Blooket is and how it works. So here we are at blooket.com on the main page. You can sign up using an email account or sign in through Google. I already have an account, so I'm going to hit login. Since mine is linked to my Google account and I have my email open, it went straight to it, which is nice and convenient. And whenever it opens, it goes to your dashboard. Your dashboard is the little home icon right here. So anytime you want to come back to this page, you'll hit dashboard. There's also up top play if you want to play like one of the students by putting in a PIN code. Discover, where you can find other people's Blooket sets. Create, where you make your own sets. Stats, where you can look at your playing stats, not the stats of your student. I'll show you where you can get that somewhere else. The market, where you can buy other Blooks, all the Blooks that are available. And the settings, where you can do things like change your password or the email account that it's attached to, things like that. Looking at the menu that's on the side, you have news, where you'll find out new information like new games that are coming out, your personal sets, favorites, either that other people have made or that you have made, homework that you have currently assigned, and the history of your kids' play. So let's look at how to create a set. So I made a set here. It has no questions in it yet. So we're just going to hit this pencil in order to edit it. And you can add a question. And it looks very much like Kahoot or quizzes. You type in the question here, you put that there's at least 2 different answers down and up to 4 of them, and then you put a green check mark next to the correct answer. Set a time limit if you want one for how long the kids can have to answer in seconds. And then I would suggest the random answer order in this, unless something is first, second, third, fourth that you're putting down for your answers. Because with these decks, you need a lot of questions. And if they're getting the same question more than once, having the answers at least in a different order makes them think a little bit more and pay a little bit more attention. So that's how you're going to build your set. It's really super simple. That part is easy. Coming back to the dashboard here, you'll see that on your set, there'll be a little eyeball. If you click on that, it will view your set. You can just go up top here to the URL, highlight the URL, and share that out with friends if you want them to be able to use your set without having to search for it. If you don't see the eyeball, it means that you did not make it a public Blooket set. And so you just need to go here to the settings and change that information. So you want to assign a game. Let's go through the basics of that. There are 2 different ways that you can assign it, live or as homework. So I'm going to use Discover and just use somebody else's set for that part. So let's look at multiplication facts. So you can host it up here. And you'll see all 9 of the options show up on the screen whenever you do that. We can go to Gold Quest, and this one has to be live. So whenever you go to it, you'll click Host Game. You can decide if you want it to be based off of the amount of gold that they've gotten or the amount of time that you want it played. So that's a nice setting. And some of them have multiple ways that you can set the stuff in that way. There are instructions. You can allow kids to join late or not. And for a lot of these, I do like the random names. If you're doing homework, you probably will not want random names though, so that you can see the name of the child who's doing the assignment. All right, so you just go right up to the top and click Host Now. And you're ready to go. The kids will go onto blooket.com/play. They have the game code right here that they'll enter in. The other option is you could go to copy join link here. And when you copy that, you could then take that link and put it into your Google Meet or some other format like Zoom, and the kids can enter in that way if you have the kids at home to make it easier for them. One of the things is the sound that comes through here is only available for the teacher. It didn't work for the kids. I don't know about you, but with my Google Meet, things that are audio don't go well through the Google Meet. And so that was a little sad. I couldn't have the music playing for the kids while we were going through Google Meet, but if I'd had them live in class, that would have been a nice feature. Okay, so let's look at how to assign homework. So to do that, You click on the same button, that host button again. Once you're on the screen, pick what you'd like it to be again, go down to Tower of Doom, and assign that as homework. They just, within the last couple of days, changed how you're going to assign homework. So what you'll do is you'll put in your days, hours, and minutes, and then you will click Assign Now. It's that simple. Here's the part that had changed. There was a game code before for the homework. That is not the case anymore. All homeworks are going to be a copy and paste web address now. So you have that right there. You can just copy it whenever you click on it. The stats are here. Okay. If you want to change the amount of time so the kids get really into it, or you don't have enough kids participating and you want to make it longer, you can extend it there. And if you would be back at the dashboard and you want to see what your homework stats are, you can click here and the information is right there. Now, looking at the games to see what the history of these stats looks like, the stats are lacking. There's no other way of saying it. So here are the statistics for one of the games that we played on Friday. And it shows you the percent that the whole class got correct. And then down here shows you the individual students and their percentages of correct and incorrect questions and total number of questions that they did. I had random name generator, so I don't even have the names of which students were which would not be super useful for me to use these statistics in that way. If you are doing homework, I would highly suggest not using random names and making the kids use their actual names so that you would have a list of their names and what their percentage was correct. The thing that I don't like is that you just don't see which questions it is that they're getting right or wrong like you would on quizzes. So the statistics are just not as good as some of those other free services that you can use for games, but the interest level is a lot higher on this. So if you want something that's going to kind of hook them and get them to practice for a while, this is great. If you want data, not the best. Okay, so let's take a look now at the 9 different games that they currently have available. So the first game I played with the kids, and actually it ended up, I think, being their favorite from what they told me, was Battle Royale. Battle Royale is a head-to-head battle. It is going to be where you give the kids a set amount of life. I gave them 5 points to begin with. And if they get a question right, they get a point against the other team and the other person gets it wrong. Or if they both get the answer right, it is based off of the time it took for them to answer. So quickness does count in Battle Royale. The other thing that I liked was that I put them into teams and it was team battles instead of solo battles. You can have them as student against student, though, instead of teams of students against other teams of students. And for this one, it is one that can only be done live since they are battling with other people. I really enjoyed this. I gave them the silly names that they have a name generator so that it was a little less competitive against kids who are physically in the room. Also, the team names that came up with whenever it did that were kind of hilarious, and the kids liked the team names. So I liked the fact that since they were battling people head to head, there was no real names involved in it. So personally, that would be my choice with Battle Royale in the future. Tower Defense is the next game. And from what the kids told me, it's like Bloons Tower Defense that they play online for fun. The kids weren't a huge fan of playing this in host mode, in the live mode. I feel like it was pretty complicated for them to be trying to do this against each other at other people's pace and try and keep up and that kind of thing. Playing it alone, I think they might have more fun. So that would be homework mode. As you can see, there's these little blocks that travel the path. Those are the evil blocks and the towers that you build and you can upgrade as you earn points while you're doing the questions, will help to defeat the evil block. The racing game was another one that I got to play with the kids, and they really enjoyed this one. As far as some pros of it go, it is very fast paced, and it is one that you would do live. So they're like yelling and they were super into it. They are on a racetrack and each question that they get right moves them further in the race. If they get a question wrong, they move backward. They can also use power-ups against each other in this one. So I had them just use the random name generator because I didn't know any better. I think in the future I would still do that because that way it's not so personal. They're going against like random people instead of going after a person in the class with like an actual name. So I was a big fan of the racing game. I think in a classroom would be even more exciting than doing it virtually online. Crazy Kingdom is one that is homework only, and I tried this one out at home myself. Um, It seems fun. I think the kids would like it for whenever they're playing at home. You have four different resources. The tree is resource. The next one is people. The happiness of your people is your third thing. And then your money is your final category. And what happens is when you answer a question right, then you get to answer yes or no to a person in your kingdom. And based on your yes or no answer, you will gain or lose one of those four categories or multiple categories. If you get the question wrong, you don't get to choose whether you choose yes or no. The game chooses it for you. And once you hit zero in one of those categories is when your game is over. Cafe is the next one. It seemed kind of simplistic. You earn food for correct questions that you answer, and then you use that food to feed your customers before their bar of energy runs out and they leave your restaurant. The more you go up, the more food you can have as options to serve the people, and also the more food you get per question that you answer. So I think it would be good for younger kids. It was not super exciting, I think, for older kids, though. Gold Quest is one that, as I was looking through it, it also seems like it changes seasonally. It has a factor of luck. So after you get a question right, you get to pick one of the three treasure chests and it can add or delete points that way. And so for a kid who's not as strong as answering questions, they can still feel like they have a chance of winning against others. And this one is for host only, so you can only play live. So if you do have a class that has a large ability level and the same kids are winning all the time, Gold Quest or whatever the seasonal version, like at Halloween, they had one that was pumpkins, but the same thing, seems to be a good one to get them invested, even if they're not the strongest at answering these questions quickly, because they do have that luck factor involved. Tower of Doom is one that I tried here at home. It's for homework only. It is self-paced. I think it was really fun. Um, it has levels like a video game. It reminded me very much of Magic the Gathering or Pokemon as far as a card game goes. You earn cards with your correct questions, and then you battle those cards against the other player, which is the computer. And you get to pick which category you're battling them in. So if you get the higher score, then you get points knocked off their score. And if they have the higher score, then they take points off of your score. Factory is another one that can be a homework or a live hosted game. It is timed, so it's good if you only have a certain amount of time left in class to use that for live version. Because of that, it's also good if you have questions that are just quick little questions. You don't want anything that's going to be complicated for this one that has a lot of reading. It would be hard for it. The kids get to earn blooks for their factory. The blooks earn money for the factory for them. And then as they earn more money, they can upgrade them so that they earn money faster. So it is a very fast paced game. I don't know if it would be a favorite with some of the older kids, but I feel like it would be really good for younger kids. Classic Blooket is basically Kahoot or quizzes. So it's live host only. In all honesty, if you were going to choose this, I would just go with Kahoot or quizzes because they have more options for importing in your questions and you can edit other people's questions. So if you want this style, I wouldn't use Blooket for it. So here are the current 9 games that they have available, and whether they are host and homework, host only, or homework only as far as their capability. As far as the pros for Blooket, you can use the same question set over and over again because you can apply it with a different kind of game and still keep the kids interested. Whereas I feel like whenever you use Kahoot or quizzes, once you've played it once, I mean, you're not using it again until next year. And that seems like a big downside to me of those ones. Whereas this one, as long as you pick a different game for them to play, I could see the kids playing the same set of questions over and over again. The kids really got excited about the fact that there is a market where they can go and pick what their little book is going to be and they can buy new ones. So like right now there's a breakfast set and there's one. So like one of the kids is really excited. Their bowl of cereal now is their icon. And they're very excited about being a bowl of Fruit Loops. There's also Alice in Wonderland. There's ones that come out seasonally. And so it's kind of a competition to see how many of the books you can accumulate and collect. And you can sell them also if you get some of the rare ones. So that could be fun for them to keep them invested in it and keep it fresh even after you've played things multiple times. The downside, like I said before, you can't edit other people's decks. And so you really do have to either start from scratch or find a deck that you like the whole thing of. And I found some that had typos and things in it. And so I wouldn't want to use that. And it was the only issue with the deck was that there was typos. And so I wouldn't want to use that one. I'd have to remake the whole thing. The stats are minimal. You just don't have as much information that you get about the kids as you would from Kahoot or Quiz. But it's just not, it's good for practice. It's not great for data collection on the kids. And it does require a large amount of questions. A lot of these games, you want to have a minimum of 30 questions so that you have a vast amount of questions to pull from for these games that take a lot longer time. So if you just have a quick 10 questions that you want to play a game with the kids, it might not be the best format for that kind of situation. I hope you found this useful, and hopefully you'll enjoy your time with Blooket as well.